we just did a town hall a little while ago with our next guest, Mark Mitchell. Mark, welcome back to the Conservative Voice.
Yeah, great to be here.
Now,
Thanks for having me.
Almost everybody knows, that you're the head pollster at Rasmussen Report. Almost everybody now knows, and we talked about this before you were on, that we used your work hard. We relied on you heavy in 23 and 24. I was just asked again the other day by somebody, how did you know? Like, I got a secret weapon.
Psychic.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I hope I won't let you down this time.
I'm going to start telling people I have a psychic, and his name is Mark, and that's who I talk to. So,
but you're, because you guys are in the market. I always say the market, but you're always out there in the population, kind of finding out what's going on. You just have a perspective that is really unique. And whether the message is good, whether people like it or don't like it, your message is one that I can continuously look back at and say, oh, now in hindsight, they were on track.
Right.
And so that's what I can't understand what's happening if I'm just lied to by everybody all the time. And so it's great that we have access to what you're doing.
Well, it's nice to have numbers to rely on, because this is, I don't like coming out there and making assertions without actually judging what I think fact is based on the numbers. And the problem is there's so many fake numbers out there, and it's actually kind of nice to know that I have numbers that I don't think are fake.
Right.
That's right.
I mean? It's
right.
It's kind of like a cheat code, but I guess I could always be off, and we'll never know.
Well, sure.
But so far, the track record's been good.
Yeah, I mean, there is a certain degree of estimation in what you're doing, right? There's a certain degree of statistical analysis rather than absolute fact. You're not polling everyone.
hard numbers, right?
But there's another,
Well, there's a lot of confounders they throw in there, too, like significant amounts of election fraud in order to predict the outcome of elections. If all of a sudden 10 million fake mail-in ballots appear out of nowhere, right?
And then all those voters disappear by 2024, and we're all supposed to be confounded.
Yeah,
we so confused.
Can't figure it out.
I don't know what
and then we're told, vote more by mail.
Right?
So
it was
funny.
the mail. Right.
So, now there's another group we were just talking about a moment ago where the numbers have been fake for years, which is, of course, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you'll notice we haven't had E.J. Antoni on in a while, right? And the reason we haven't had E.J. Antoni on, we miss him because he's great. It was great to have these economic discussions with him, but he's taking over the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I think we're going to see.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think we're going to see.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mark,
if
you're
he
next.
needs help with the, I would love to do their surveys. We over a year ago we started putting out our own unemployment number because this 4% number we've been stuck at is so fake.
Oh yeah, absolutely fake. And we've used shadow unemployment data forever to try to get to something that's reasonable. There's no way to know what was going on. The total labor force number could literally have millions of fake jobs in it just because of the way these estimates have been done.
Yeah.
Which we went through with EJ.
Right,
so,
right. That's
now,
what we had EJ for. And then Trump must have heard him on our show and said, he's really good.
That must have been it.
Oh, man. Hey, Trump administration. Love to help you out with, we could do a lot. Consumer confidence, we could,
But selfishly, here we've lost EJ.
I know, now we're sad.
The guy goes dark. I mean, so, it's now we also,
what does he think the unemployment rate is right now?
Well, we haven't had him on in a while, but when back in 24, when we were going through those numbers, and if you remember, in 24 they would put out an unemployment number, or rather an employment number showing how many jobs were created, and then quietly adjust it.
A month later.
A month
later.
Right. But then they started doing larger adjustments, right? So there would be they take out a couple 100,000. Then they did an 818,000. Then they took out 1.2 million, right? So they were always adjusting. And so I don't know if EJ was actually giving us his own estimate, or we were just kind of looking at what it means and how wrong they were and where the what other economic indicators were really telling us. But it'll be interesting to see how things change with him down in D.C. While we're on the topic, there's another great ally that we've had for years, Heather Honey, who's one of the great investigators of election fraud, worked on cases all over the country, provided expert evidence and guidance all over the country. And she got picked up by the Trump administration to be I'm going to try to get this right, the undersecretary in the Department of Homeland Security. She's the undersecretary for election integrity, or assistant undersecretary. It's hard to get all these government titles right because they're just so incredible.
Yeah.
She's another Pennsylvanian.
Oh, yeah.
Up by him. Yeah.
So, now we've had Heather at town halls. You've done a town hall with us, which was great. We thoroughly loved that. But we've had Heather do town halls and things, and now, boom, she's off in D.C., and at the same time she goes to D.C., we start hearing more and more coming out about Serbia, Venezuela, about the machines and all these things. Now, with her in there, I can tell you this. What they are going to learn with Heather involved is going to be fact. Yep. She isn't one for hyperbole. She's not one for conjecture. She will get down to things that are not she
emotional.
Is smart, reasoned, and focused. Yeah. I just...
And knows her election law.
Now, here's the problem. They keep hiring people. We're going to have nobody to talk to.
I know. So now we need a new economist. You're going to get picked up at some point, Mark. We're going to need a new pollster.
That's the problem. If I'm going, then there's really nobody else.
No.
I mean, there's some other people out there that do a good job, but just saying, there's not as exactly. He does a good job, and we call other people liars about equally. We're pretty harsh on the rest of the industry, so. Well, and you probably get picked up before I do, but
you started a group. You and Rich Barris, and I don't remember is Trafalgar in there. You started a group.
Yeah, Trafalgar and Insider Advantage. Yep.
And so this is a new association of polling companies that are focused on accuracy and truth, which is just a totally foreign idea in that industry.
We put together a nonprofit, and we're actually in talks to collaborate on some work. We're thinking potentially coming out there and doing polling on Cracker Barrel, but they caved so fast. This is a problem. Is that everybody's like, woke. You just fix it by getting rid of the lady in the DEI department. And it's like, well, no, actually, you have people, every layer of public corporations who make decisions for short-term personal benefit or to feel good or for consensus seeking.
Yep.
Like objectively, what was wrong with Cracker Barrel was their food, not the fact that people like this store. And so how did the people who manage this, the CEO, the C-suite, the board, not even know what their customers want? And this is happening everywhere. And for somebody that does surveys, it's really tough to see, right? It's like, oh, look, an American icon just got a bullet put in its head.
Yeah.
Because people that are making horrible decisions to feel good about themselves on their resume.
That's right. And I just checked. I've not seen yet that she's resigned.
No,
I expect her to go. But frankly, the board should go first.
I don't think she is.
No,
it doesn't look like it.
And
there you go. I think the board hired her to do this, probably.
Yes.
You have this woke generation coming out of the universities. They have then gone on to take up these corporate positions on boards and heading off these long-standing companies that have been doing just fine. And they look at it and say, I wouldn't go there. This isn't what my people would like to see. What could I do to change it so that my friends and my family would want to dine here? And that's what they do. It is literally shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, she, to your, as you said a minute ago, she was hired by a board to implement an agenda. The agenda was to change the restaurant and fix its customers who they hate.
Yeah, they hate those people.
Hate their customers.
Exactly. Well, look, I mean, they did it to Star Wars. Let's turn it into a chick brand, and
Marvel too. Yeah. Oh.
And people that, they don't have an ability to actually put out quality content, right? And
that's right.
That's the problem. Everything is going to be cheap, fake, and gay. And there's going to be, and I feel sorry for the kids coming into this world who are going to have all these sanitized corporate experiences. But
the
the pendulum will swing back.
Well, the hope is that it's begun. I mean, when the Cracker Barrel thing failed,
and it failed quickly.
It failed
really quickly
and very publicly.
Yeah.
I mean, for a normal company, that's a crisis. Now, again, their board's still there and she's still there. And if you look at the marketing officer, she has the same glasses as the CEO. I mean, they look exactly the same.
Mark.
Well, what was hilarious is the very first day that this crisis was blowing up, I went straight to LinkedIn.
Oh my
and I'm like, okay, who's leading this thing? And I found her. I found that lady. I forget her name. She's the VP of marketing, right? Well, she posted an opening for a director role in creative, and it literally said in a LinkedIn post, "Come join and put your mark on the future direction of Cracker Barrel." I think it's still up. You could go apply if you want to help them out with your graphic design skills or whatever.
I don't think I'm in their target demographic for that job. I don't think.
I don't think you are.
Yeah, well, they're not going to hire you because you don't have pronouns in your resume like she does.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really
definitely
interesting.
Don't need not apply.
Now there's something you and I were talking about by text about maybe a week ago, and that I've been trying to get a handle on a little bit more, which ties directly into this Cracker Barrel thing, which is this concept that there is a demographic of white, suburban, relatively prosperous, right? They're well off, typically advanced degree holding females who just seem hell-bent on undermining the United States, right? They hate it. They hate the people in it. They think they have to save anyone else.
Sometimes they have blue or green hair or purple hair.
Sometimes deceptively not.
I know. And listen, I have a nose ring, and some of them have nose rings, but that doesn't make me one of them.
No.
So it is deceptive. We're all kind of skirting the line here.
That's right. So, Mark, the question is then, can you see this demographic in the polls? Can you see these women that in my view, are horribly racist?
Yes.
Do you see them showing up in your numbers?
Well, it's what I have to work with, the toolbox, is the basic demographic questions. Mm-hmm. Male, female, age, urban, suburban, rural, education. And the problem is that, like, in any given poll, if I slice too deep, it starts to disappear. Like, as I get into a smaller subsample, the error rate for that sample, skyrockets. So if I take a normal poll and I'm looking at, 18 to 29-year-old single white women, there's probably only 30 of them in that poll, and then it's just not predictive. And so I could find more out about these people. I'd have to pull a massive amount of data, and it's very rare when I have an opportunity to make a slice like that. Although we did do one. I think we might have talked about it in one of our previous calls. We did one in the fall. It just so happened that in one of our sets of overnight polling, we had the presidential questions, and we also had, do you own a pet? Are you a cat or a dog owner?
Oh.
And single female cat owners went 36 points Harris, which was the biggest combination of ownership. So, I mean, the meme is real. It was so funny. It just happened to be 2 weeks after J.D. Vance came out and said something about cat ladies.
Oh, my gosh. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's true, but yeah.
So it does exist.
Finding those people, 18 to 29-year-old, but really 30 to 39-year-old women, just by age and gender, are the most left, and in a way that, quite frankly, makes me worried about our civilization.
So millennials.
They're 40 points to the left of men in the same age bracket, and these are people who are supposed to be forming families together and raising children. And then what's weird is that, and that's measured by Trump job approval, which might not be the best measure, but then we actually have new polling back. You guys will like this. We have new polling back yesterday. We did in coordination with Heartland Institute, Stopping Socialism. So that's public. People can actually go to our website. It's not behind a paywall if they want to look. And it's the first of 3 parts. But the mean, you started talking about this of, there's so much data out there and people cherry pick stuff and it's hard to know what's real or not. Well, what everybody's been hearing is that the Zoomers are okay and everybody's moving to the right and the future is going to be bright and rosy. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Oh. So 18 to 39-year-olds were more Trumpy than they've ever been before. But it's not because they're more conservative. It's because they're more economic populist. So we took a sample of 18 to 39-year-olds, and we asked them, and this is general, all likely voters. So Republicans, Independents are all in there, right? And we asked, would you prefer that a Democrat socialist win in 2028? 53% yes. I think it was only 27% no. And then we said, well, agree or disagree, major industries like healthcare, I forget the list. I think we did healthcare, tech. We named a few major industries. And we said, well, agree or disagree, these should be socialized in order to give more control and equity to the people. And 76% agreed with that statement. So,
you know what's funny?
So
we were talking about the socialism thing earlier with Brandon Strock when we had him on, and how he's in New York City fighting against Mamdani, I think, who's running for mayor, who is a self-proclaimed socialist, right? And he was talking about the marketing and how hard it is to, get people engaged, and they're having some success getting people out. But isn't that the case with socialism, Marxism, and communism? Great marketing, very convincing, convinces the younger generation. Nearly exclusively, every new generation goes through this learning curve of early 20s, mid-20s, late teens, because the marketing for the isms is so great that they fall for it, and then they eventually grow out of it. But communism, socialism, their marketing's good.
It is, but the difference this time might be that in earlier generations, kids went through this sort of on their own. I don't know that the education system and that the entertainment system was quite as perfected in its driving these agendas. If you look at curriculum that a school kid might be getting a few years ago, it was focused on like learning to read, right?
You got to go back further.
Well, 10 years ago.
Well, I was in the leading edge of where they started undermining civics. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s and 90s, I remember multiculturalism creeping in and worshiping the other cultures. This is a real problem, but it ultimately, in my opinion, stems from the fact that we have a constitutional republic based on free market capitalism, and it's a system that's not working for people, and they want it fixed. The rest of this polling is going to have a lot of stuff in there about how they're struggling and not flourishing and don't think they're going to be able to buy a house and all this other stuff. And so it's not working for them. And I think that kind of explains why they're moving more towards the Trump direction. But they're not going to convert to Republican voters. They're just not in the way that the Republican Party wants. So this is kind of fourth turning stuff. It's like they're fragmented, individualized, but you can already see the Zoomers have a pretty distinct culture. They like mass shared experiences. Like my kids all want to play Fortnite or Minecraft. They want to go on Roblox. They gravitate towards these big things that everybody else is doing, and yet they're, I think, really individualistic from a politics perspective and news consumption. So I think they'll probably be part of what determines. I mean, they're going to be in power someday, right? Just the millennials are coming in power now. So what does that look like? And unfortunately, they're probably not married to a principled constitutional republic because it hasn't worked out for them.
Right. And so what you described sounds like the same reasons that many are being pushed toward Mamdani in New York. They're saying, listen, I voted for all, my parents voted, my grandparents voted for all these people like this de Blasio character. They're just corrupt and they've destroyed the city. So I'm going the other way.
Look at who they're running. It's Cuomo? Really?
Right.
Really?
Right.
It's Mamdani
or better option.
What? I mean, that's a rock and a hard place there.
That is. But the point, Mark, that you just made, which I make frequently also, which is not a very popular thing to say, is that these voters that came, these marginal voters, these Democrats and independents, these reluctant Republicans, I used to call them, these voters came for Trump. They didn't come for the R brand. They don't care about the jersey. So if you're assuming that those voters are brand loyal now, I think you're going to be sorely disappointed. And so in order to win those voters in the midterms and beyond, the Republican Party has to serve them. Now, when we say that, we get attacked. I got attacked yesterday. When we say that, like mail-in ballots are fraudulent, oh my God, they're not. They pretend it's not real.
You're terrible, horrible.
So we're supposed to live.
Legal, use them.
We're supposed to live in this delusional world where those voters are Trump brought them and now they're locked in on the R brand.
Nope.
And where mail-in ballots work. I mean, the reason we harp on these things is because we believe it's a formula for disaster that will shift the country back toward Mamdani.
And these Trump voters are not Republican voters. Felice and I talked about it, like the marginal voters. They're not Trump voters or Republican voters.
Republican voters.
They're Trump voters. We're not losing them. They never had them to begin with. That's why the down ballots here in PA were so catastrophic.
So, Mark, do you believe...
Our final polling in November had only 58% of Trump support coming from self-ID Republicans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only 58%.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing.
The problem is that when they lose elections, on average, your Republican decision maker doesn't have a hard time. They're still in business. They're still at the top of the NRCC. They still have the relationship with donors.
Yeah,
that's right.
All of their stuff stays the same when they lose, and so they really don't have an incentive to change anything. Why would they change the status quo? They don't care if the voter, they just expect the voter to buy whatever product they're selling day in and day out, and nothing change. And
that's right.
Unfortunately, that's not good enough for America. And unless there's a way that changes, then we're going in the wrong direction. Things are going to get messy if we can't get it fixed with Trump.
That's right. Well, Mark, thanks for joining us again. This has actually been one of our more fun conversations. I don't think we laughed this much in most of them. But thanks for joining the Conservative Voice on WDDB. We hope to have you back again
on
really
X,
soon.
Right?
That's right.
The Honest Pollster.
Right, anytime.
Thank
have a
you.
good weekend.
Yep. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the week. We'll see you next Friday.